Namaste and welcome to Live, Love, Engage. I am Gloria Grace Rand, and today I get to have a guest with me on the show, which is one of my favorite things to do. And this is an awesome woman who I know, is going to enlighten us a lot about a lot of different things and hopefully to empower you, because that's a little bit about what she does, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Please welcome Georgia-based author and empowerment coach, Artesia T Bolding, who is also the head of T Bold Media Group. She is best known for her loud belly laughs and her love of truth. And hopefully she'll share that with us. And she's also a speaker and consultant who has spent the last decade providing relationship and spiritual advice to clients, friends, and even groups of teenagers. And since her early days at Howard University, she has been impacting people it's a serious passion for her. And there's so much more. And I'm just going to actually let her go into that, including the fact that she also is the host of her own podcast called Bold Journeys. So first off, welcome to Live, Love, Engage.
Thank you. It is absolutely a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad we can make this happen.
Yes, absolutely. It's a wonderful thing. And just for those of you who may be curious about even how I find guests for the show, this was a really cool opportunity. Is that I subscribe to a service called podcastguest.com. And they were wonderful enough to promote my podcast one time because I was looking for guests, and Artesia is one who responded. And I was like, ooh, I looked over what she had to offer and I'm like, oh yes, that sounds like a perfect person to have on the show. So with that being said, I know that you have, in reading over your bio, which I didn't get to share totally here, that you had sort of an interesting journey, maybe even life-altering journey that led you to be an empowerment coach. Could you share with us a little bit about what happened to prompt that?
Absolutely. So in 2018, I went through a major medical crisis, and I've now tagged it as a divine disruption because my life was headed in one direction. I thought things were going great. I had a good job, had a nice place to live, nice car, all of the things checking off all of the boxes. But once I got gravely ill, it brought a lot of things to light for me. So I was only 38 years old with no negative medical history. The worst thing was allergies, right? And I was taking over-the-counter meds for that. But all of a sudden, I was working 60 plus hours per week on a nuclear power plant construction site.
Oh my
That's a whole
goodness.
nother story there. The short of it is one of the higher paying jobs in the area, and they just so happened to pick me. And so I said, let's go for it. Let's, pay down some debt and take better vacations, things like that we think about as just being responsible citizens and want to enjoy some of our monies. But looking back, I know that I was really solely in selfish pursuits. I was not giving in to the community like I normally do. I was not even really being present and participating with my family like I had been because I was working so many hours. Anyway, with that crazy topsy-turvy schedule, because Gloria, I was actually working the graveyard shift, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Mandatory overtime, the whole thing, like yucky shift. And I'm thinking that, okay, I'm sleeping all the time. I'm sluggish because of just a weird schedule. Of course, I'm not eating right, with chips at work and things like that. But so, I kind of shirked it off to that. But when things got really serious and these symptoms weren't going away, I went to a doctor and found out that it was very, very serious. They actually diagnosed me with pulmonary hypertension. So I literally went into congestive heart failure and pulmonary failure at the same time.
Oh my
Again,
gosh. Yikes.
no medical history, scariest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But in that still quiet time, I mean, I went into a coma, had to be resuscitated, the whole thing.
Wow.
And in that quiet, still time, and having those very, very serious conversations, family, I just realized that I had to do something different with my life.
Mm,
So right there on a hospital bed, I summoned everybody. I asked for paper and pen, and I began to journal. And I just committed to myself and to my family that I would do life differently from that
mm,
point on.
mm,
So in retrospect, I knew that I had a bit of confusion and misunderstanding about what I should be contributing to the world and what did it mean to be a productive citizen? What did that mean for me? And could I have the life that I dreamed of while also contributing to society? And I realized that I could do both. And all I had to do was look within and realize that serving others, being selfless as opposed to selfish, that was the key for me.
mm.
So I became an empowerment coach. Recently, I got the ink dry on the credential, so I'm certified. And it has really, really been a blessing to be able to serve others.
Oh, that's awesome. I, yeah, it's amazing. I do. I love how the universe or God, and I'm not sure what how your spiritual beliefs are, but I do think sometimes it does take sort of this, really like knocking on the head and saying, hello, pay attention, you're
Yes.
going down the wrong path. And I've been trying to send you signals, but you haven't been receiving them very well. So I guess we're going to have to get a little drastic, but I'm
Hmm.
glad you finally picked up on it. That's good. So, what type of what's your specialty? Because I mean, empowerment. So, probably lots of people might have even an idea, or maybe not even an idea. But what does that mean to you, and who are like your favorite clients to work with, and how are you helping them?
I'm so glad you asked me that because recently I had a really serious meeting with one of my coaches about how to really clearly communicate my message because that is a huge umbrella. And, even life coaching is very broad. So, how do you even begin to talk about it? So, I used to say that I guide individuals along their purpose discovery journey so that their lives have luster and fulfillment because what I found our client is me, not the person that is confused. That is who I serve. I'm getting my message makeover. Now I'm able to say in a really uplifting, inspiring, encouraging way. Because at the end of the day, what I do is I motivate entrepreneurs to birth their business, book, or brand. I ensure that they're no longer stuck in life, but thriving in success to, that is aligned with their purpose and their passion.
Mm,
That's what I do because that's what I needed when I was on that path. So that's my mission, to pull folks off of that path.
I like that, and it is interesting because I do think, especially in particular with coaches, it does seem to be that we tend to um, gravitate towards serving the people that um, or I guess even in helping them because it's a journey that we've been on and it's something that
Yes.
we've achieved. Like for instance, one of the things that I do is I decided to become a health coach last year because I went through a program and I lost a lot of weight and it was something I'd been through a couple of times, but I knew that I could go back to it again because it works the first time. And so that was one reason why I decided like I wanted to be able to give back and help others because I know as a lifelong person who has struggled with it, it's like, I know it's not easy because it's mindset really more than anything else. So I love how you've been able to do that. Um, I know something also, I guess, as part of what you do well, I think I even mentioned is that you're an author as well. So, which is something that I have an affinity for because I'm in the process of writing my own book. So what led you to decide to go down that path as well and become an author?
That is something that was actually birthed out of that still quiet time, that very scary time, navigating through that health crisis as well. And so some of the things that I began to journal because with I went through these upsets and trying to understand my diagnosis, what was happening in my body and in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
over 4 admissions to the hospital, twice in a coma, right? So there was 26 total days in the hospital. So I did a lot of praying. I am a woman of faith. I believe in God. And
Mm-hmm.
so very important to me to tap into that. And I'm so thankful that I was able to lean on my church family as well as my biological family. And what I felt burning in my heart, well, the first thing that I mentally thought was people have to hear this story. It's outrageous that an
Mm-hmm.
otherwise healthy young woman, at work begins to show these symptoms, and then this major thing happens to completely upset her life. But
Mm-hmm.
she comes out of it. So
Yes,
everybody loves a comeback story, right? So
absolutely.
I'm just like, I have to write this book. This is, so that's the first thing. But what actually wound up taking priority and precedent was the faith piece, the mindset piece.
Mm-hmm.
So first book that I released was just last year. It was May of 2019, and it's called Journal for Your Journey,
Mm-hmm.
31 Days of Prayer for Your Soul.
Oh,
And
nice.
so it's a full month of prayers and affirmations with different topics. And it's a place right there in the book so that you can journal the things that you're sensing spiritually and emotionally. You put a date on it so you can go back and see how far you've come or things that you still need to work on. So that was my
Mhm.
first baby.
I like that. That's nice. And do you have another one in the works now? Or 'cause since you said first, that implies, or at least I'm
Yes,
inferring that.
you inferred correctly. Um, the following fall, I got so excited because, again, faith and mindset, those are my two kind of wheelhouses, if you will.
Mhm.
And so I said, I need to do something that's more centered on personal and professional development. We
Mm.
know that spiritual is a part of that, but specifically that folks can use in business and in everyday.
Mm.
So that led to Induction to Power. That's the book that I released last fall.
Mm.
Very quick read. It's full of gems as far as help who want to do that next, who want to birth that thing, whether it's someone who wants to turn a side hustle into something more serious, whether it's someone who wants to actually get that book out of their belly or full blown launch a business.
Mm.
So that is who the Induction to Power is for, and even career changers.
Mm.
So those are really my three categories of clients that really want to speak with me. So that book is for that audience, and I was excited to get that out. And so, yes, as you, there more in the works,
Very
more in
good.
the works.
So is that something that you're going to like offer for sale like on Amazon, or is that something you're going to have on your website where people can get that book? How is that going to work?
Yeah, so actually right now, both ebooks are available on my website,
Mm.
tboldmedia.com. And we can give folks my contact information towards the end of the show
Great.
if you like. But right on my website, tboldmedia.com, you can get both of those books, ebook version right now. And something that I wanted to offer your listeners and anyone who is interested, folks that join my email community, which I call the trailblazers, because, on this journey of life, we all have a trail to blaze. I actually released this year the mini ebook version of Journal for Your Journey. So that's totally free. They can
Nice.
access that on the website. And that is that first 7 days, that full week
Yeah.
of affirmations and other goodies.
Oh, that's nice. Awesome. Well, that I'll definitely make sure that I have a link to that in the show notes and everything, because that's I love that concept, because it is definitely something that I do practice. I think affirmations are very helpful, but I like the spiritual aspect of it, because that's definitely something that I have spent the last several years as well, um, in sort of looking at well, really even more embracing my spirituality, and being able to even talk about it online, because it wasn't, you know, used to
Mhm.
think that it was, okay, I was like this marketing person, and this other side of me was a different side of me, but it's still all part of who I am. And so it's better to just embrace it. And, people are either going to like it or they're not. And that's okay, because I want to appeal to the people who are going to like it. Because people who don't aren't people I want to deal with anyway. So,
Exactly. That's not your tribe. You know, when you are your authentic self, when you show up full and present, your whole self, that is when your tribe will find you. So you're absolutely right.
yeah, absolutely. Um, I wanted to shift gears just a little bit and talk about something that has been, well, 2020. This, as I'm recording this right now, it is in, oh my gosh, it's almost the end of June already. I can't believe where this year has gone. And it's been such a crazy, crazy year of drama, I guess, and stress. And, we have the pandemic, and then we've had just recently the horrible, horrible murder of George Floyd, and which really ignited, maybe even reignited, it might even be a better way to
Mhm.
say, the Black Lives Matter movement. And it's, I'm first off just want to say, I'm, for those of you listening who don't know me, I'm a middle-aged white woman, and Artesia is a beautiful woman of color, and it is also, frankly, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show, because I wanted to have your voice be heard to a new audience, because I know you're already being heard, I'm sure, by lots of people on your own podcast. But I wanted to sort of get your take on what's been going on, and what people can do to really learn more, because that's what I'm about. I want to be able to learn more, and I know that I'm, we all, I guess, in certain circumstances have had some racist tendencies, and I like to think that I'm more open-minded than some people, but I know there's probably still blind spots that I have as well. So I just wanted to have you kind of share your thoughts about what's been going on, and maybe some ideas about what people can do to continue to um, be more enlightened about it, and to be able to help whatever way they can, maybe just educating themselves, I guess.
Absolutely. The first thing I have to say about that, Gloria, is that we have to all own up to fear that us have. We have to own up to prejudice
Mm-hmm.
that we have deep down inside. I have to continue the conversation to ask why. Why am I afraid?
Yeah.
Why am I prejudiced or biased in this situation? Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Does that fit the person that I say I am? Does that fit the direction that I want my life to go in? Is that the story that I want to tell my children and grandchildren, that I am this? Right.
Right.
So if we take a moment to do some introspection and to have real honest conversations, even beginning in our own community about what that means, I think that's going to be huge.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because skin color should not be feared, and it also should not be weaponized. And that goes both ways. I
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't look at you and assume that you would be just or discriminatory against me. I shouldn't assume that of me. And likewise, I don't want you to see me and be scared or intimidated
Mm-hmm.
or think things about me before even having a conversation with me. And so, if we get back to the communal piece of society, if we
Mm-hmm.
get back to the very basics of understanding, okay, that is your fellow man, that is your fellow human who
Right.
deserves grace and compassion,
Mhm.
who may be having a bad day, who just a smile or a kind word from you could make all the difference in the world,
Yeah.
a huge difference
Mhm.
in what could turn out to be a very tragic and sad situation. So
Right.
if we put those lenses on, it's going to be a huge help. And I have to, for folks who may be confused or don't understand, Black Lives Matter, a terrorist organization.
Mm.
Black Lives Matter is not a hate group. Black Lives Matter is a movement that we need to take a real look at what police forces in this country are doing, to make sure that the police are properly trained, that they have the diversity and sensitivity training, that um, I've been saying this for years before Black Lives Matter, that police need to be trained to shoot to wound instead of shoot to kill. That right there would solve a lot. And I would much rather George Floyd's family say they want to sue the police department because they shot his ankle off or his foot off
Right.
versus them
Yeah.
having to have buried him. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
not, it's still not ideal,
Right.
but it's a huge difference as far as loss of life, as
Mhm.
far as community unrest and upset, you
Right.
know? So I so appreciate you being brave to ask the question and wanting to have the conversation. We really need more of that. We need to admit that we don't have all the answers, and we need to admit that policing, the way that it's taking place last years, there's something inherent in that, with the violence piece of it, that we need to invite the community in to have some oversight and to make some changes there. I think that's going to be a huge, huge win if we can make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think, despite all of the negativity that's been going on, and actually you and I were talking about this before we started the recording, is that I do think that the reason all of this stuff is happening, this 2020 is, and it is kind of funny because, in a way, because 2020 is normally associated with vision, right? You know, you go to the
Yes.
eye doctor. And so we are really being given, I believe, an opportunity from God to really open our eyes and say, okay, maybe what we've been doing hasn't been working very well. And it's time to make some changes. And so my intention and belief is that I do believe there are enough people out there now who really are becoming more aware, more enlightened, more spiritual minded, that we're going to get to the point where we're going to actually, we've come to this tipping point right now of like, okay, which way do we want to go? But I'm choosing to say that we're going to come out of this much better than we did going into it. And so
Hmm.
that's my prayer. and so if I can do my small part in helping to make that happen, I will consider my life worthwhile to do that. So anyway, well, we went really deep here today, but it's all good. It's all good. Trying to think what else I wanted to ask you about. Well, tell me a little bit about your podcast. I'm curious. So, because I love how it's called Bold Journeys, and it's spelled with two Z's at the end. Is there any meaning behind that, or is that just a cool way of spelling it?
Well, it is cool. I have to say that it is
Yeah.
cool, right? But of course, there's meaning and intention behind everything I do. And those D's present the two holidays. The show was actually called Holidays, with the two Z's on the end. Two
Yeah.
holidays that I spent in a hospital under doctor's care,
Ah,
again, on this journey. So
okay.
it all kicked off Thanksgiving of 2017.
Mm,
And then I was in again Easter of
mhm.
2018. So,
Okay.
I spent my Resurrection Sunday with all kind of wires and tubes hooked up to.
Goodness. Wow.
So that is the inspiration for the spelling of the show. But Bold Journeys podcast, I started as it actually started on Facebook before it was an official podcast.
Mm,
I would record myself and send it just to my Facebook friends, put it on my Facebook page
yeah.
every Monday. And I called it, I didn't want to call it a podcast. I called it a MeCast. So I
Okay.
tagged it as MeCast Monday, right? So,
Nice. I
just
like that.
broadcasting myself. Yes.
Yeah.
And folks kept saying, "Hey, do you save these anywhere? Where else can I listen?" I'm just like, "You listen right here. This is it." And so after getting that question, no less than 15 times, I said, "Okay, let me see how to, more formalize this." So I did this past year. I actually partnered with Anchor. They have been great as far as helping in that tool. They have editing and a whole bunch of different fun stuff, and you can
Mm,
connect really easily with other podcasters. Bold Journeys, I say, is a very unique show because I look every week at the unique angle of relationships and faith. So your relationship to your family, to the
mm,
world around you, to
mm,
our politicians, and everything that's going on, and what that means for you, how you move forward with the information that you have every day and every week. So
mm,
I enjoy chatting about current events and things that are happening in my personal life and folks that I know. So it's fun.
mm. Well, that sounds awesome. Well, so make sure you look it up, folks who are listening, because it's great content, and I'm sure. And actually, because I have listened to one of the episodes, and that's how I was like, oh yeah, definitely, I'm going to have you on the show because I liked it. So, well, that's awesome. Well, I really do appreciate you being here. Is there any other? Well, I mean, we mentioned. I know you had mentioned the website earlier, but is that the best way for folks who want to be able to get in touch with you to reach out to you at your website, or what about like social media or anything like that?
Absolutely. I love to connect with people on social media, which my Facebook and Instagram are my two primary ones. And, it's facebook.com, Artesia.Bolding. And Gloria, if you will let our friends know how to spell that in the show notes, that'll be
Yeah,
easier
I
than
will.
me spelling it out here.
Yeah.
And then Instagram is just instagram.com, Artesia Bolding,
Okay.
straight through. So definitely, guys, hit me up, follow me. I always put out great content. My thing is I'm spreading love. So I would love to hear from you, and please also visit the website tboldmedia.com. That's TBOLD media.com. And that's where you can sign up to get your free mini ebook and other goodies.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm definitely going to check that out as well. And I will have all of that in the show notes. So if you're listening and you're not able to get to write that down, don't worry about it. You'll have it. So thank you again for being on the show. I'm really glad we got a chance to meet and got to share your story here today. I so appreciate you being here and continue to do the good work, and looking forward to more books in your future. I'm sure you'll have more to say.
Thank you so, so much. This has been a pleasure for me.
Thank you. And as always, I thank my listeners and viewers on YouTube as well for taking time out of your day and paying attention and listening. And I appreciate you. And as always, I encourage you to go out there and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.